So I got out of Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I've seen the worst film of 2014. But I'm not here to talk about Spider-Man 2. I'm here to talk about the worst film of 2014, and that's Legends of Oz: Dorothy's Return. Bless the universe that exists where we live, that this film or something, whatever this thing is, exists. Um, did you know Candyland exists in Oz? It does. Candyland with a Twinkie mobile and a train, a choo choo train, exists in Oz. Yeah, it's safe to say that this takes a lot of liberties with the source material. It's and obviously bears no resemblance to the Disney film that came out like a year, 2 years, I think like 2 years ago, year ago, and the original classic that we all love. I tried to get my mother to my mother loves Oz. She loves everything about it. I said, "Mom, why don't you sit down next to me and record and be part of this as like a commentator about the differences between the stories and this." She got really depressed when I told her Candyland was in Oz. She got depressed. So that's a no. Um, uh, because obviously they can't borrow anything from the movies. The film opens in Oz years after the events of the original film, with Tin Man, Straw Man, and Lion all going down the hall of the Emerald City and going, right, we must call Dorothy because Oz is in trouble. For that's how it starts. And Scarecrow goes to this big old, almost like an organ machine. He's pulling on pipes, going like, calling Dorothy, Dorothy, come in. Because in the intervening years, he has invented, well, I'll get to it in a second, and Lion says, oh, she's forgotten all about us, or Tin Man said, she's forgotten all about us. And he's like, Scarecrow's like, oh, well, in real time, in, human time, it's just like she just woke up. So she will, so she'll remember, it'll be like she just had a good night's sleep. And literally for Dorothy, it opens right when she wakes up after getting back from Oz. Opens there. So realistically, she just got back 5 seconds before the movie began. Her story in this new film began. It's a really quick sequel. Um, and obviously, because they can't borrow anything from the original film or anything else, instead of just setting it in Podunk, Kansas, circa 1930s, like everyone else could do, no, it's set probably circa 1950s or 60s or maybe 70s at the latest. Like you do for real no reason. And Kansas apparently is in the middle of Appalachia. Kansas is as I understand it, Kansas is very flat. This is considered Mount Everest for a Kansasian. I don't know. But Kansas in this movie has big mountains, mountain chains and ridges and all that, where Dorothy's walking with Toto and she's singing a song about how the world is all messed up and kind of unfair and all that. Not memorable at all, and then the message from Scarecrow arrives in the form of a rainbow. She sees this, and her family's being, I will say, she just wakes up. She's walking around her farm. It's all broken. Some shady government man comes up and condemns the house, tells them to get off the land. It's condemned. They can't live here anymore. So that's when causes Dorothy to walk off, sing her unmemorable tune about that. And she's on this mountain in the middle of Kansas. There's a big old mountain where she can see the mountains that surround her town, because obviously there are huge mountains in Kansas. And she sees a rainbow that turns to face her and comes towards her. And a normal person will go, this is weird, I'm going to run in the other direction. This film, for her, opens 2 minutes at most from when she got back from Oz. Girl, seeing a rainbow chasing after you is the most normal thing you have seen in the last several days in Oz time. Really, a rainbow chasing you is not as weird as seeing witches, munchkins, talking critters, uh, flying monkeys. That's fine. Or have you just? But you obviously have not forgotten about it. You're just stupid when the script demands it. You are dumb as post. And she pulls a Charlize Theron from Prometheus, and everyone when the alien ship crashes down and it's toppling over, instead of running, going okay, let down. No, she just runs, and here's the rainbow chasing after her. And when she tumbles down into the storm shelter, it becomes a hand and scoops her up. And that's how she's transported to Oz via the inside of a rainbow, where she talks to Lion, Tin Man, and Cowardly and Scarecrow via very bad telecommunications, radio communication, hologram things. I don't know what they were going for in this, but the trio that we all know and love are captured by flying monkeys who are carted away, and Dorothy is deposited somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Oz. And we find out who the villain is. The villain is not a new Wicked Witch or whatever. It's the Wicked Witch of the West's younger brother, the Jester, voiced by Martin Short. And he captures Glinda, and he turns her into basically a marionette puppet, which he has done with all these other leaders of Oz. And I'm pretty sure somebody would have noticed, because there's a later point in the film where uh, I'll get to it in a second. This movie makes no sense. Now, for this is a bad movie, but Dorothy, the first person, instead of going with the characters we love and the characters we want, you want to watch an Oz film, you want to go to a fantastical world. You want to have Dorothy, Tin Man, Scarecrow, Lion. What's the first character that you meet? Is a big owl. Like a big owl about the size of a hippopotamus, called Wiser, who talks incessantly. Incessantly. Crack his neck. And he eats too. And so they decide, right, we're going to go to the Emerald City because that's where my friends are. Obviously, that's where I need to go. Good plan. Let's cut through Candy County. Because Candyland, it's not called Candyland. I'm sure if they had the rights, they would have used it. It's called Candy County. And the Jester is like, oh, my big plan. I'm going to change the signs and say, don't eat anything, to say, eat anything. And then he sings a rock ballad about eating candy as Toto, who eats chocolate, which I'm pretty sure would kill him, this owl, which I can assume eating candy is not healthy for either, and Dorothy chow their way through Candy County till they have a sugar coma and are captured by soldiers, chocolate soldiers, like you get at Easter, with guns I'm pretty sure can function. If they do, getting shot by chocolate bullets I don't think is the most lethal thing that can happen to you, who are led by Marshall Mallow. He's a marshmallow man with candy cane legs and a shako and a nice coat. And they're arrested because you're eating candy. Is not allowed. Jester's magic disappears, and they're arrested to be hanged before Judge Jawbreaker, and who has a peanut gallery of candy peanuts, and they are tried by a jury of their peeps. Because they're peeps in the jury who squeak. And what are they saying? They're saying cheep, 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 cheep. What do you think they were doing? But anyway, so Jester is obviously not pleased with Dorothy here, but he's captured Glinda, who looks like Barbie. If Barbie came out with an Oz version, I'm pretty sure that's what she would look like. And who knows, maybe there probably is somewhere in the world at some place in time. He captures and turns her into a marionette puppet like he's done with all these other, I'm guessing, county regional leaders of Oz. And when they're at the Candy Courthouse, you have Judge Jawbreaker saying, Marshal Mallow, what are you doing? You hang them. You must execute them immediately. And Marshal Mallow goes, but sir, I obey General Candy Apple. I think, yeah, it's Candy Apple or something like that. It's like, well, where is he? He went to Emerald City. I don't know what could have taken him so long. Cut to the next place they go to, and they openly talk about the evil Jester. An evil dude is running the place. He's trying to take over Oz. You think something probably could have happened to him that had to do with the Jester. Just saying. I don't expect a lot of logic in kids' films. They're meant to look... this film was geared really young. To be honest, when I walked out of Amazing Spider-Man, and this started about 10 minutes later, it's an advanced showing, and I went, you know what, might as well. I'm here. And I walked in, there was this woman there with her little daughter, who's probably kindergarten age at most. Kids all excited, the mother's sitting there on her cell phone, and sees me like, what the hell is he doing here? And as one of my friends said, he said, Rick, you should have told her that, ma'am, I'm here to inform you, you can get a refund. You don't have to take your child to see this movie. And sure enough, during the trailers, another mother and two little boys walked in. Ma'am, you don't have to watch this. You don't have to take your kids to see this. Parents, you don't have to show your kids bad movies just because they want to go see a movie and there's nothing out. But yeah, anyway. And they're in Candyland, and as they walk out, apparently technology has come to Oz in the form of a Twinkie Mobile with an Oreo for a wheel and a train. And instead of taking some sort of vehicular transportation along the yellow brick road, they walk. Okay, fine, whatever. And all this time, Jester is doing his evil bidding, and the flying monkeys are now serving him. And the flying monkeys look like bad Road Warrior cosplay mixed with punk rocker cosplay. Was one with a bright pink mohawk. They have like, little patches of armor. They look like they're ready to go to an S&M club or a punk rock concert. And they're all a bunch of doofuses. There's a leader one who Joker keeps bashing on and keeps bad-mouthing, calling him a flea-bitten furball and all that. And you kind of feel bad for the monkeys. I will say the monkeys in the Oz Great and Powerful in the mist in the graveyard sequence, they were kind of scary. When the one jumps out and screeches at you, it's like in IMAX 3D, that was kind of scary. Little kid, the flying monkeys back then, those were kind of scary. These monkeys, I felt sorry for them. I wanted there to be a rise and Planet of the Flying Monkey Apes. I would have been down with that. Yeah, I felt bad for the monkeys. But so our intrepid heroes, Dorothy the dog, Vial Weiser, and General Marshmallow, and they come to the next county, or it's called a country. The term is flipped way around. I'm not sure if this was a spelling error in the script and they just play along with it. Whatever. There's mountains, nice gently rolling hills, and there's a line of china cups with little turrets every couple of 100 meters. And take a wild guess what they say. It says, wow, it's a wall of china cups. Wow, it's a great wall of china. Really? I don't... Good puns, and puns are fun. Good puns are a lot of fun. I don't mind puns that much. I love wordplay. I love, twisting the obvious a little bit. Like, a werewolf wouldn't say, there's a silver lining to this. He would say, there's a gold lining, there's a platinum lining, or magnesium or emerald lining to this, because he's a werewolf. Wouldn't say there's a silver lining to something, because they hate silver. So yeah, bad puns are bad, and they deserve punishment. But they always pop up in kids' movies. And they get to the China, and they're told the little China princess, and that's her name the entire movie, is accepting suitors, and so they go in to try to get General Marshmallow to propose to her, and that will let them cross the county. And the China people are revealed to be about yay high, and their arrows don't do any damage. They sort of just poke you. Go Godzilla on them. You can just walk right through them. The one they barely come up to Dorothy's knee. She could just go Godzilla on these people. Um, and here's an opportunity to, and here's another terrible song talking about when a prince loves a princess, as they get in line and the little China princess is as shallow as can be. She sees this guy with like a bit of a crack on his cheek, and she tosses him away. Guy who's too fat, she tosses him. And a very offensive Russian stereotype of a giant with a blunderbuss and flowers in it, big fuck off beard, big bearskin hat, and virtually no teeth. I'm pretty sure, this is probably the most offensive Russian stereotypes since German propaganda movies during the Second World War. Big statement. But they get to her, and she makes fun of Marshmallow, and he does say a good line, say, the name's Mallow, not Shallow. I'll give it that. He's like, looks onto everything, so I'll give that line to them. But he falls in love with her. There's going to be a relationship, you know it, because he saves her, and even though she's a shallow bitch, and she bitches and moans the entire movie, he still falls in love with her, even though he says, my name, it's Mallow, not Shallow. Dude, you come off shallow. And she joins them because the Jester sends an earthquake to destroy their village, destroy her city. And so she just goes with them, and they're walking, and here's another part of, and during all this time, it cuts back to the Jester just making his random rants and whatever. So, yeah, back to our heroes. They come to a destroyed bridge, and Dorothy's like, we'll build a boat, because this river leads right to Emerald City. Keep in mind, when she wakes up, when you first see her in the start of this movie, it is literally seconds or a minute or two after she got back from Oz. Okay? First thing she does to build a boat is walk up to a tree and yank off its branch. And obviously the tree is really pissed off about this. And one of the trees, and she says, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. You just came back from here. How do you not remember this? And one of the other trees goes, hey, isn't that the girl who stole apples from Uncle Merle or some other name like that? Obviously, they saw the original film, so because they made that reference. And so, as they're running away from the trees, because we're out of range by moving 3 meters to the right, there's a really old tree who I'm pretty sure is voiced by Patrick Stewart. I'm guessing that on one of the days he and Ian McKellen were out around New York, they made a bet with each other to see who could, do some, I don't know, maybe McKellen was, trying on some new hats, and Stewart just happened to wander over to a recording studio and did this. I don't know, but he's in the movie and he plays a tree who is like, I'm 900 years old. I am doing Winston Churchill instead of Patrick Stewart. But I will give you my bark to create your boat. And then he climbs out of the ground. He's an int, basically. It's like, so, no, just recruit the other trees as an army of ints. And then they sing another song about how everything is good to work together. You have a mouse king, I guess, and his entourage who come around, see the broken bridge, see them like, oh, we'll go help them, and there's beavers, and then the other trees join in the fun, and it's all happy, and they turn the Patrick Stewart into a boat, and he's called Tug. And they go to Emerald City, where they find the message about the Jester, and they eventually fall into one of the Jester's traps, and Dorothy goes off to face him alone. Little China Princess is shattered. Literally, she's broken to pieces. And so Marshmallow fixes her by pulling pieces of himself off, melting them, and then gluing her back together pieces of marshmallow. Sure, why not? Um, Dorothy goes to face the Jester, and it's her alley. She's about to be bumped off, and she probably, for all her stupidity of forgetting things she should know, she probably should have been. But just at the last minute, her friends arrive. Tug, Patrick Stewart, do not call me Tug, call me Tank. Because they put wheels underneath him, and they stuck. The Candy Army and the China Army have come to help them defeat the Jester and his evil flying monkeys. Which I have to ask, there are tanks in Oz? I can assume there are tanks, because he knows what a tank is. Why don't you use one of those? Get a King Tiger or something to roll up on the castle, why don't you? But anyway, there's a fight. There's lots of shenanigans and hardy horror stuff as they're shooting gumballs at flying monkeys. And I forgot to mention, the Jester, he's a spiteful little guy because his sister, the Wicked Witch of the West, she put a curse on him so he can never become a warlock. He has to become a Jester. So he cannot remove his suit. It is constantly upon him. But the true source of the witch's power is her broom, which is now a mighty scepter with a little crystal orb on top of it that amplifies its magic. And that's what he uses to conjure and do other things and fly for one scene. And he even shrinks down the wings of... Because the flying monkey tries his best but keeps failing because it's not incompetent. And... he shrinks its wings down to those just little itty bitty things, and I felt bad for the monkeys. And eventually, during the middle of the final battle at the climax, the monkeys, they're flying away, and he's shouting at them, get back here. And one of them he doesn't flip. He should just flip from the bird, but just basically goes meh, just meh, done with you. You should have been done with him a long time ago. And even when the ape had the scepter, just zap the dude. He was nothing but a jerk to you. I can at least say about the original Oz film and Legend Oz Great and Powerful, it seemed the Wicked Witches were nice to the monkeys. They shouted at them, but they seemed nice. They seemed to take their minions as equal partners in some form or fashion, or the master-servant relationship. It wasn't abusive as it is here. But yeah, they defeat the Jester, they knock the orb away, they breaks the magic spell and all that. Jester is sucked up into a tornado. He commanded to kill Dorothy but fails. All the leaders of Oz are back to their normal selves, and Glinda sends her back home after a big old hug and applause all around. She gets back to Kansas, tells her parents, oh no, we don't have to vacate, runs to the center of town where everyone's signing over their property to the shady real estate guy, government guy, who turns out to be a fool, who turns out to be a joker, a con man. Big surprise. Police arrest him, and the credits are them rebuilding their town nice and pretty. End movie. This is... There are probably worse films coming out this year. I can guarantee the Adam Sandler film Blended is probably worse, because I hate Adam Sandler, but I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. No. I have a standard of quality with my bad movies, and that is far below that. I don't know where this is going to rank. The good news is, for my mother, and for my brother and all that, I'm not going to buy this for my niece or my nephew, because I'm not that much of a monster. I'm really not. I will not do that. I will not suffer them this movie. I saw it in 2D. I generally see everything in 3D, but the only show was in 2D, so I was like, you know what, I'm not going to wait around for this film. I'll just watch it. I can assume by watching it, there was a couple of throwy gags out, but not much. The only positive I can say is Martin Short. The animation for the Jester was so obscenely exaggerated, and he was probably having fun. I'm sure he was just having a ball, and his scenes were the best because, I'm like, okay, he's not some actor who has a lot better things to do with their time, though. Who knows? Dan Aykroyd was probably like, wait, well, Ghostbusters 3 is never going to happen. Might as well do this while I wait. I don't know. Uh, it, this is apocalyptically bad. And sitting in the theater with, once again, like two mothers and like three kids between them, I'm pretty sure these parents were sitting at home. Little kids, they're like kindergarten, preschool age. They were like, okay, I'm going to take them to a movie tonight. And they were like, well, we've seen Rio 2 once or twice. They don't have, anything else anymore. Oh, Legend of Oz, 7 o'clock. It's PG, it's animated. I know Oz. Let's take them to go see that. I'm pretty sure if there was any other family film coming out in May, because, well, there's Maleficent, but considering how violent Amazing Alice in Wonderland was, I wouldn't necessarily call that a family kid film. If there was anything else coming out this month, any sort of animated family fare coming out in May, this thing probably would have been gone straight to video. I would almost guarantee it. You know, because I'm pretty sure whoever bought this film to distribute it probably saw the nut job and went, wow, that thing, I mean, that made like $50 million domestically. Because outside of Frozen, I mean, there was no other family film outside of like Walking with Dinosaurs, but no one saw that. There was Frozen in November, and then there was Lego in February. A completely open window of opportunity. I'm pretty sure whoever put this out said, wow, Nutjob was really successful and actually only hampered by the fact Frozen was still so popular. Pretty sure whoever put this out said, right, the last film out was Rio 2. Parents have taken their kids to go see it over the last 2 weeks. There's nothing until How to Train Your Dragon in June. Pop this right there and we'll see what we get. And parents, you don't have to take your kids to go see this film. It's okay. There are some films that are just cotton candy, where they're really sweet, they're lots of fun when you're eating it, no nutritional value. A film like Sharknado, or, well, I would actually call Sharknado funnel cake, because I love funnel cake, and it has a little more nutritional value. But there's a lot of fun movies out there, like young, films geared towards younger kids or whatever. Sorry, that are mostly cotton candy. Because they're geared really young, and this one's really geared young for like, if your kids pass like the third grade, don't even bother. They'll be really bored. But again, don't take your kid to go see this. Just pop in The Rescuers or something more recent. Paranorman. Pop in. Robin Hood, the Robin Hood that Disney did, where he's the fox and all that. Let's see what else could. Once again, pop in The Rescuers Down Under. Two of my favorite films as a little kid. Pop one of those and pop something that will nourish your child, or better yet, pop in the original Wizard of Oz, because more people need to know about that. I was really depressed when, there's the poster for when it got released to IMAX. Wizard of Oz put it up, and I saw a couple of teenagers walking by, and they went, and some people even in the 30s and 40s went, wow, they made a sequel really quickly to Great and Powerful. Where's James Franco? Who are these people? Really? My mother showed me Wizard of Oz when I was really young on VHS. A big box metal thing, plastic thing that played movies back in the Dark Ages. Legends of Oz is no legend. It's just a mishmash of everything that someone said, right, Oz is in public domain, people know about it. Let's do a mishmash of brightly colored funny things and see if we can make it work. I read somewhere, I think the budget on this was like $50 million. And I know animation is somewhat expensive, but even so, I'm almost like, probably a lot of that budget went to get some of these voice actors. Dan Aykroyd, Patrick Stewart, Jim Belushi, Martin Short. I've gone blank on some of the other names, but yeah, it, this film, I think, once again, I told my mother, "Hey, Mom, Candyland is in Oz," and she just went, just this blank stare, and yeah, that's that was all that she needed to. That's all, that was her entire reaction to this. Was just this blank stare. This, I mean, this film is one of the worst. Because I do enjoy animated films. I enjoy, I enjoyed Croods. Croods was really good. I enjoy animated films. I enjoyed Wreck-It Ralph. I've enjoyed Ratatouille. I enjoy animated. I enjoy family films. How to Train Your Dragon is a good one. This, there's no reason for you to take your kid to go see this movie. Once again, even if your kid's like, let's go to the movies. Even if you're going, let's go to the movies. Let's get the kids out of the house. Don't even just go to the park if the weather's nice. Pop in an older film. Pop in Rescuers, Robin Hood, one of the older Pixar films, Toy Story, or pop in the original Wizard of Oz, or even in a pinch, Oz Great and Powerful. Preferably the original. Heck, pop in Return to Oz, even though that will probably traumatize your child more than anything. Who knows? I will say that film is probably more loyal to the books than this film is, and infinitely scarier. That's a creepy movie. Thanks, 80s. But yeah, so yeah, Legends of Oz. Even okay as a bad movie lover, someone who just loves watching even apocalyptically bad films. For me, the key difference is always a film where you can tell a lot of heart and passion was put into it, and they're trying to make the best movie they can. And that's why like Troll 2 and Planet F from Outer Space continue to exist and are loved by people. I sense no love. I sense, right, public domain. Let's make sure we don't tread on Warner Brothers or Disney's toes. Forward, ho. That's all I can get from this movie. Yeah, don't even if it when it comes out to DVD and it's you see it on an end cap or in a bargain bin for $5. You can put those $5 to better use. Right now, Little Caesars has like a deal for $5, or Pizza Hut always has deals for $5. Put your $5 towards that, or take your $5 to Redbox and rent a couple of movies that are probably going to be better than this. Yeah, just don't see this movie. This is, but then again, if everything I've said intrigues you, you're gonna watch it anyway. And there's nothing I can do, and I salute you. And I can only hope you don't pay for it or waste a free movie ticket at the theater. Wait for Redbox or Netflix because they will pick it up probably. I guarantee you, this will be gone. This will only stay in theaters because there's nothing else out. This weekend it's Godzilla. Next week it's Blended and X-Men. Then it's Maleficent and Million Ways to Die in the West. Then it's in June. First week of June is All You Need Is Kill and Fault of Our Stars. And the week after that, then it's How to Train Your Dragon 2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. This film has pretty much all to itself. And even when it gets to that fourth week and your kids are begging to let you take them to the movies, you know what? If one of your friends is taking their kids to go see it, send your kids along with them so they'll pay for it. And you don't have to. And only under that circumstance should you. But no. Screw that. Don't. Sit your kids down at home, watch an old classic, watch something that will nourish them. This film will not nourish them. It'll keep them entertained, like, mommy, fun movies, ha ha ha, you made funny stories, ha 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 ha. And that's all it'll do to your kid. It'll keep them quiet or reasonably quiet for an hour and 20 minutes or so. And if that's all you want, then you're doing a disservice to your child. So, yeah. Just skip it. And as a final thought, because I'm pretty sure I lured in a certain somebody with the headline for this. I actually liked Amazing Spider-Man 2. A little disappointed Paul Giamatti wasn't in it more. The fight sequences of Electro and Green Goblin weren't as expansive as I wanted them to be, but otherwise, Sally Field and Andrew Garfield have such a good chemistry together. They were really good. So Spider-Man was okay. Legend of Oz,